Hey, what's up? Sun's right in my eyes. This is the magic time of day when the sun is just right here on me in the game room. Jeez. Uh, I'm on a lot earlier than normal. Then my days turned out weird. I thought I had more to do today. I took the whole day off work. Got stuff wrapped up pretty early. So now I'm just going to use the extra time to do the stream that I was going to do tomorrow, which means we can scrape. I can't even talk. Anyway, we can stuff in more streams this weekend, is what I'm trying to say. Something like that. Cram in more stuff. I don't know. Frogger. Well, actually, before I get into this, let's talk about the type of games on stream. So these are what I think of. Like, this would have been playing Atari back in the day. Like, these are the arcade games that got ported to our Atari home systems. These are the classic arcade games. After Because prior to this, a lot of games didn't have color. They were usually used a lot of screen overlays and stuff like that. Sometimes had a bunch of discrete circuitry in them that wasn't necessarily a microprocessor. This is the modern age of the microprocessor ROM-based video game with rastered graphics that became popular in the early 80s and gave us such mega hits like Pac-Man and Cubert and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I'm going to be playing today. Not Cubert, though, because I hate that game. Uh, let me talk real quick about what I'm not going to be playing. I put this in the comments as well. You will not see a bunch of Atari or Capcom games today, or maybe any of them, because I have a bunch of collections for that. I've streamed a lot of it already. I'll be streaming a lot of it again. It doesn't need to be included in this stream because this is more of all the other stuff. Also, Nintendo. I've done most of their games via the Black Box NES collection games, or not collection, just the games actually. But so, and I'm gonna do the arcade versions of them all together in a separate stream in the future as a plan. So I didn't really want to include them as either. Probably. I mean, I might play a Nintendo game. I might not. I might even play an Atari game, or I might not. But I mean, I'm mostly just trying to dig into other stuff like Frogger here. Now, Frogger, you might have thought was Nintendo or Atari or even Coleco if you just played it somewhere else and don't really know its origin. But it's not. It's Konami. This is Konami's breakthrough game. See down there at the bottom, Konami. Oh, and also Sega published this game a lot. So it's easy to be confused about where it's from, but it's actually Konami. This is their breakthrough game. It wasn't Metal Gear. It wasn't something else like that. It wasn't Gradius even. It wasn't Scramble even though that came out probably around the same time as this and probably runs on the same hardware or very similar. But no, Frogger's their big breakout, huge hit game, and Frogger's a massively influential game. If you've never seen Frogger, think about the gameplay while playing it and think about what it's more similar to in modern games. Have you played a modern game that has a hacking sequence in it where you break into something? Hacking sequences in video games are usually done one of two ways. One is with a code breaker, which would be like numeric would be Mastermind is the name of that game, or um, an alphabetical version of it would be Wordle, which I play every day. It's a fun game. But anyway, so like a code breakdown thing. That's one type of hacking mini game you get in video games. This is almost the two that you only ever see. Sometimes there's slight variations on what I'm saying, but the other one is the get past the firewall game. And the get past the firewall games and games are just Frogger. It's just some variation of Frogger where you have like limited orthogonal movement to get through moving lines of obstacle, which is exactly what you're doing here. So a simple game. I'm a little mystified by the high score thing. Frogger High Score has its own little historical footnote from the television show Seinfeld. There's an entire episode that has a major subplot about George Costanza trying to preserve his. He has a high score on Frogger at the diner, and he wants to. Oh, that's my wife coming back home, and he wants to preserve this high score. So, but if the machine needs to be moved to a different store across the street, but if it's unplugged, he will lose his high score. So he connects it to like a UPS and moves it, and like moves it himself. And he's like crossing the busy New York street, and they make it to be like Frogger itself. And hey, I had a short little interruption here, but I'm gonna be right back, and then we'll play some Frogger. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll be back shortly. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go ahead and Frogger up some Frogger. But another thing that's interesting about what I was saying earlier about Frogger, as you can see on the high score table here, is that there are no initials. So I mean, like George is like risking his life to save this Frogger high score, and it doesn't even say like GC or anything for his name. It doesn't say shit except for a number, just a number. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and play some Frogger. And yeah, you literally just move one space at a time in an invisible grid on this game. It's very simple, but very challenging too. The flies that randomly appear in these cells at the end are bonus points. And there's one other type of bonus points, and that's on the logs. Sometimes there will be a mate, and if you can capture the mate and go back to your frog home, you get bonus points. As you can see, some of the platforms collapse. I don't usually risk it for the flies at the end. It's just, if you get one, that's super cool, but like, don't risk it. The mates, on the other hand, aren't really that hard to get usually, so I think kind of worth it. Gotta have a little bit of patience, and you gotta know you're not on a platform that's sinking. Well, I killed my mate. I'm a monster. What the hell kind of frog falls in the water and dies, by the way? What kind of piece of shit frog falls into water and is instantly dead because they're in water? That's a frog, by the way. Has anyone pointed out how stupid this is yet? Like, sure, getting hit by a car, that'll end a frog, for sure. I've seen it happen. It's horrible. But, like, why does falling in the water off of a log cause me to die? Oh, I can barely hear this. Hang on. Pausing it for a second. Let's try that. Hopefully that's not too crazy. No, that's good. That's good. One other thing. I need to pause it for a second. Gotta lower it on my monitor. All right, now I think we're good to go. That alligator. That alligator ruined my business. But yeah, I tried to find where because I'm pretty sure that high score is not the default and that there was no default and that I earned that when practicing, or not practicing. I wasn't even practicing. I was just testing the ROM and played like one game of it or something. One or two games, maybe even 3 games, because this is a short game, as you can see, for me at least. But I don't know. I do not know. This game uses 4 directional inputs and 0 buttons. It's a buttonless game. Other than the start button, I mean. But yeah, anyway, wherever those high scores are going, and I disabled and enabled high scores in the core. I don't know. I looked for a file and deleted it, and the only other file I saw was a log saying when the game was last launched that didn't say anything about high score. This is a very dangerous move, but there we go. And there's lots of modern equivalents to this game, even that aren't just a mini game. Well, what kind of? There's a lot of mobile games that are barely games, like Crossy Road and stuff like. God damn it! Crossy Road is just a scrolling, kind of like endless version of Frogger. It even has like grid-based movement and everything. It's the same game. Oh shit! Platform disappeared. Lily pads, they sink. Or turtles? I guess they're supposed to be turtles, right? Yeah, it sucks. Shit. God damn it. It's so easy to be off by just a little bit in this game and die. I'm not good at Frogger, as you can see. I understand the concept of Frogger, but I'm certainly not good at it. I actually don't know why I died there. Looks like I hit that log pretty solidly. I actually don't understand that one. Go ahead and get the hard ones out of the way first. This is definitely easier to get in on the left, on the right side than on the left. Oh, I got bamboozled. So I think probably the best strategy here is to play any of these games until my frustration becomes too immense, and then I'll move on to the next one. Well, like all these old games are insanely infuriating though. They all look like they're so easy. Like this looks so easy, and it's probably pissing you off watching me do as poorly as I am. It's really not though. None of this is easy. All of it's a nightmare. These games hate me. They hate you. They're designed to hate the player. They're designed to take the money and be a huge challenge because they're thin on content, so they're huge on challenge. Yeah, that's the way old games are, and it's pretty dope when you get good at them. You definitely feel like you've really had to master some tricky maneuvers. There's usually a lot of muscle memory involved. Ooh. I seem offset from the tiles, don't I? Is this an emulation problem? I think it is. Ugh. Or just a general glitch in the game from some weird thing that happened. Seems normal now. What? Now I'm doing a little better, fortunately. Nice. Shit. Nice. Now I'm doing a lot better. You'll also note that I didn't put up any individual arcade marquees today. I don't know what I'm going to be playing. And I don't want to limit it. I just want to wing it. And I'm too lazy to like download them as I go. So you get what you get. You know what these games are. Most of what I'm going to play is going to be very identifiable. And I'm thoroughly going to describe everything anyway, so, you know. 7390, new high score. Take that, George Costanza. I wonder what his score was. It must have been something crazy, about like 50,000 or whatever. Give this another go. At least I feel like I'm getting the hang of it after a million tries. We've seen some weird stuff, though, like when I went backwards to a log that was definitely in place and I died, or like when I was offset from everything. The thing is that arcade games from this vintage tend to be really well emulated. This is probably pretty accurate, and they also tend to be really buggy, so it's probably just bugs that you would experience on a real cabinet. This game seems buggier than a lot, and I almost wonder if the arcade version is like the best version to play. There might be like a home port that's actually a lot tighter, or feels better to play, you know what I mean? I don't know. I played quite a bit of it on 5200, I think, maybe. Probably. And some on 2600, I think. I think it's got a pretty decent 2600 version. It's a simple enough game that it works well on that hardware. And the 2600 has like basically a single sprite, the ball, and not so much a real tile layer as like just a bunch of line rastering. So it's perfect. I mean, not perfect for, but this is the type of game that is well suited for that hardware, I should say. Again, I feel like I was hitting the log. Maybe I was a little early. I could give it that. But earlier I did that when I wasn't even early, and I was hitting the middle of the log as I jumped and I died. I had a mate then too. I want to say maybe that's a glitch when you have a mate, is that it doesn't jump you back to the previous log, or you just can't. Maybe it's even considered a rule of the game. I don't know. Really. Ah. Yeah, that was just going back to land and it killed me. It limits in some way your ability to jump back when you have a mate. That's a rule I didn't understand and got me killed at least 3 times. So, anyway, that's Frogger. Great game, a lot of fun. It is in so many ways not the way I remember it, but that's because I, again, don't have a lot of experience with the arcade game. Although I did play it in the arcades, everybody played it in the arcades. Almost all of this stuff I have played in the arcades, unless I specifically say otherwise and explain why I'm playing it. But generally, these are all just real arcade games that I know. All right, so let's go ahead and get this one swapped out. Let's go ahead and do the big one next. Everybody's favorite. So yeah, this was the biggest hit. This was what everybody played. This is what everybody liked until Miss Pac-Man came along. I've already done a stream of Miss Pac-Man. It's one of my least viewed streams ever. I don't think anyone's watched it except for me. But I like Miss Pac-Man a little better than this, of course, because it's got a little more variety, I guess. But like, classic's the classic too. It's great. Play some Pac-Man. I am not great at Pac-Man either, but so I'm I'm not using an arcade stick today either. This is much better if you have a 4-way stick anyway, and I actually think D-pads are one of the best replacements for a 4-way stick. You just have to really learn to not roll your finger from the center, but to press each direction separately as if And the PlayStation D-pad makes that even more something that you can remember to do because of the way it's designed almost. But I also went with this because I may play something with analog controls. I don't know. I don't know what I'm playing. So the DualShock is certainly a versatile controller for playing a lot of stuff. Including this classic. Normally I would never focus on points like that, which just focus on clearing out the corners, which is way smarter, of course. There we go. Oh, shit. So, because Ms. Pac-Man's origin is as a bootleg, it's one of those cursed properties that's like always a legal nightmare. It's like there's very few probably video games that have fallen into so much legal nonsense as Ms. Pac-Man, I guess, in a way. I mean, just two big cases in a way, but like, except for Tetris, which has just been like, Tetris, there's like documentaries about its legal issues. It's crazy. But yeah, basically, besides the original whole dispute with Midway and the people who developed it and Namco, there's also the dispute between Namco and At Games, who now own Ms. Pac-Man, I guess, or have the rights to it somehow. And they don't, like, Namco will not let them make use of their copyright. They won't let them profit off of it, so they don't do any contracts with them. So now we have Pac-Wife, who is now the female Pac-Man, wife of Pac-Man, and they've just completely disowned Ms. Pac-Man. They haven't gone as far as to like publish a Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man game with Pac-Wife in it, I don't think, but they have, like in Pac-Land, replaced Ms. Like that character to make her distinct from Ms. Pac-Man. And I think that's true in like the Pac World games and stuff too. I don't know. Because there's Pac World Repack or whatever. And, I should play some of that at some point too. I'm not real into 3D platformer type stuff, but those are incorporate a lot of Pac-Man gameplay and are a lot more something I could probably enjoy. They're actually pretty well-liked games. They tried to do it with some other stuff like Centipede or whatever, but those weren't as well received. Oh man. I've been playing and watching people play this game my whole life, and I'm just terrible at it. Don't get it at all. I'm just generally bad at maze games, I think. Did you see that? I think that they took that strawberry away on the frame before I would have eaten it. That's wild. It's a wild screw you from the game, isn't it? This isn't a good situation, having this mess up here. It's not finished. And then having to get back down there. Not great. Whoa, I thought I was about to get both of those guys eaten, and instead, I got eaten. Ah, it's exhausting. This is the US ROM, that's why it says Midway instead of Namco's. Midway published it in the US, pretty normal for it to be more prominent and display the publisher's name. You should probably see a bunch of stuff like RomStar. I don't know that RomStar even made games, right? They just like published games. They like manufactured the hardware probably. Like probably not just the cabinets, but maybe even the ROMs and stuff. I don't know, but like that's the name. But they didn't program or have a team of anyone that designed games, but you'd see their name all over, you know. A lot less consideration was given to the creative side of games, though, which started with American game publishers not really acknowledging whoever created them, and then the Japanese loved that idea and continued that way beyond what the U.S. did. So, like, a lot of times the people who actually did the art aspect of a game, I mean, every part of it, from the graphics and sound design to the game rules and code and everything else, just were completely ignored. Of course, something like Pac-Man is a very famous game, and we know a lot more about who was involved in it and everything. I'm sure there's documentaries worth of information about that out there. But other games, like from publishers that were really small, they may have no idea who made anything. Pushing my luck. And left with just an awful pattern to clear. I got it almost directly because the computer didn't think I'd be stupid enough to try that. Shit. I didn't mean to move backwards that one time. That was the real problem there. First score, best score. Is that the way it's going to be? It's often the case. Just a second here. And I'm back. Here we go. A couple more rounds of this and then switched up. Pac-Man is quite fun though. I mean, it really is a fun, accessible game where you immediately look at it and understand the gameplay and idea behind it, and you know, give it a shot and see how you can do on it. It's kind of perfect in a way in getting a bunch of people into gaming that weren't otherwise interested in it, because it was such an accessible concept. Not like I have to have these crazy reflexes to dodge all these, shots from spaceships. I can't do that. Or, I don't want to try and play a video game version of a sport. I can just go play the real sport, especially back when games were really crude. or there's like a bunch of other barriers that might have stopped people from being interested in games that this didn't have. Where this is like, oh, this is like a cartoony, fun thing, but it's also like you just collect the little dots and try not to get hit by the ghost. That's all there is. There were other games like it, but they didn't quite have the polish and feel of something like this. You know what I mean? Like, maze games really became a thing after this, but I don't necessarily know that this was the first maze game. Shit, I shouldn't have hesitated like that. That's where I went wrong. I was gonna try. That's like the worst bit to have left. I was gonna try something complicated to make it happen, but no. Alright, one more go. This is what's known as Pac-Man fever, or Pac-Mania. Both of which can only be cured by getting Donkey Konged. Donkey Konged out of your mind. Like he says, how high can you get? Well, I'm freaking out because I was freaking out. Not good. Not good to be in a constant state of freak out. I almost got this one. And they went and shit on me. I'm also gonna say this: if this gets hit with a copyright strike, it's because some shitty techno group probably sampled any one of these games' jingles to use as part of their song, and then they're claiming that the song is being played when it's clearly just the old game being played. They do this shit, and they probably get like they're probably scamming money out of BMI and ASCAP by doing it. Is what they're doing. Copyright trolls who record parts of games and then use it as parts of their music. YouTube really needs to do something about that shit. Now that they've got AI, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to me, AI. I'm telling you that this is bullshit. Don't let them do it. Listen for the rest of the song, not just the little bit of what they stole from somebody else anyway. They probably owe Namco for taking Pac-Man's jingle or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen this happen with Nintendo games and like Tetris and stuff, and it sucks. It sucks when people do that. And it is theft. I mean, they're actually. I don't think that BMI and ASCAP would actually appreciate that they are getting payouts to like one thing. You know, maybe they don't give a shit either since they're taking their cut. I don't know, but it's a scam all the way down either way. Copyright in the music industry has been a scam for a long time. You should all know this. If there's ever been a group of people who have needed a union more, it's musicians, and that's never going to happen, never in a million years. And it's wild because they're like the most exploited, like shit on, like intellectually properly stolen from people in the world. The artists are never the ones getting paid, and yet they're always stuck defending a system that's just absolutely awful because the alternative is just straight up stealing their shit. I'm surprised I pulled that off. I'll wrap it up after this one. I mean, I could play Pac-Man all day. I literally have, probably. And you're like, and you're still this bad? Yes, I literally have, and I'm still this bad. Shut up. Fuck. Too bad at Pac-Man. I remember what I was going to say. But yeah, I'm going to move on after this one. We may not find anything equally addictive, but there's some pretty good stuff, and we're not going to lose it all to Pac-Man. Not going to use every one of these quarters we've got today on Pac-Man, right? Is that an exact tie of my previous high score? That's infuriating. Right. I guess 14,130 points is exactly what I can earn in Pac-Man, so we should move on. What? Whatever. Oh man, my arms hurt. I got vaccinations today. Had to get the old shingle shot. Oh man. And flu. So both arms working. Whichever one they put in the right arm hurts a lot more though. Alright. I don't know what I want to play. Oh yeah, I love this game. I usually play the Nintendo port of this, which I think might be a little easier. So it's probably a little more fun. But very cool. This is the earliest run and gun, and you're not exactly running in it. You're moving quite slowly, but that's still the name of the genre because most people think of Contra. That's probably around when they started using the term. But yeah, this is more like a cover shooter. I think both of the earliest of this era games like this, because the other one would be Rolling Thunder, which is a bit more complex and probably came out closer to 85, 86. And they're both like cover shooters where it's like slow paced, exchanging shots, there's not really cover in this game though. Well, I mean, there is. This is a weird one. So, I don't know. I played Elevator Action Returns as a stream, didn't I? At some point, I said I'd go back and do the original at some point, so here it is. Sort of. I mean, we'll play the Nintendo game at some point as well, too, I'm sure. If I haven't already, I don't even know what I've done anymore. Same idea here at the start, where you want to go straight down until you get to the floor with a bonus. And then it starts getting a lot more complicated, as you can see. And to use those platforms that open the door or to go down the escalator, you have to move onto them and then turn around and sort of hit down on the escalator, or just turn around on them for the door, I believe. With the escalator, I think you do have to hit down or up. It's very odd. Feels odd and not the easiest thing to interact with. It actually probably controls a little better on this arcade version, to be honest. I'm used to playing the Nintendo one, which is going to be like an easier game overall, but I will say that interacting with the escalators really sucks on the NES. I'm glad that didn't kill me. And also the Game Boy version of this game is a little different and a little more complex maybe than the arcade original. So it's also worth checking out. It's very cool. I really like Elevator Action, like as a series, I guess. I mean, in my opinion, there's basically 3 games. There's the original, the Game Boy, and then the Elevator Action Returns. I feel like the Game Boy one's distinct enough to call like a sequel. Kind of like Donkey Kong Classic on Game Boy, but not to that extent. But kinda. It gives you the idea. keep going down this way? Ah, shit. Well, that's gonna kill me, and it sure as shit did. What I want. Ah! Didn't see that asshole. Man, this is rough. All these doors. Oh, oh, god damn it. The control issues are just unbelievable. There are no continues in this game. The sound in this game is absolutely awful. It's not really any better on Nintendo either. It sucks. God damn it. Yeah, I don't know why I wouldn't crouch. Just, yeah, the controls there sometimes. I mostly think that the NES version controls better, like more reliably on stuff on moving my character and such, but like less reliably on getting indoors and on elevators. So, I don't know. Pick your poison. Is there any safe way to do that? How do you approach? Whew, can't believe that worked. Maybe you can go down and jump at the same time, and maybe that is the trick. I don't know. I hope I don't get crushed here. This is a very precarious place to stand. Okay. Had a little trouble with the standing up function. So we're not going to hit the elevator that time. That's okay. We'll get there eventually. That's alright. It's moving. Elevator action requires a certain amount of patience. I shouldn't have been standing. That is my fault for standing up. Getting that default high score is, oof, not easy stuff. I'd like to see if I can do it, but I'm not going to spend all day on it. Ooh, I shot out a light. When you crouch, you gotta make a conscious effort to hit up and stand back up and turn around. Oh my god. And then sometimes you might end up on an escalator anyway. Oh shit, that was the wrong move. There's no other way up over here. Damn it. I can't believe I survived that. God damn it, bastard. This part sucks so bad. Okay, here we go. Hey, I picked the right one. That's amazing. I don't know why I decided to take the elevator. Or the S. Oh, I guess I wanted to see what it looks like when I get crushed. What the actual hell? So close to beating the high score, too. Just one more attempt. One more attempt on elevator action. Come on. Why didn't I crouch? So unreliable and weird. Yeah, it seems like we randomize up a lot of the stuff to keep it pretty interesting. Oh man, shot directly in the face. Brutal. Nope, I jumped into that like an idiot. Alright, well, that's elevator action. Let's do a weird one now. Yeah. This game's really hard in the arcade. There's a bunch of different variations of it. A lot of the home versions are probably better and more fun, and we'll probably play some other stuff that's kicks related in the future. It's showing the basic thing though, is you draw a square with your little cursor. You can draw it fast or slow, and slow's worth more points, but if you get hit while you're drawing, you die. That's all there is to it. And you have to capture at least 75% of the playfield to win. Oh yeah, and there's like a time limit on drawing your boxes too, otherwise it'll kill you. If you run into yourself, it will kill you. Well, there's a bunch of rules, and most all of them will kill you. Here we go. Anyway, the strategy I'll show you is basically just to draw a fast bunch of blocks across the middle, finish it with a big slow one that takes over like all the territory. And you really kind of have to adhere to the rules at this time because the fuse is so fast and the kicks, I think is what they call the thing that moves around, is so fast. It's just awful. So like that kind of, definitely done better before, but that's the gist of it. Shit. Man, any part of the kicks touches you, you die. That sucks. That is a big, awful, messy thing to try and avoid. A lot of games stole this game's gameplay, and since the background, the idea is that you're taking over territory, a lot of them use the concept of revealing a background. Kicks is on a sequel, which is called either Ultimate Kicks or Volfeed, depending on which version you're playing, which is the Sega Genesis and TurboGrafx versions, by the way, and that's what they're named respectively. I don't know which one's more like the arcade game. I think the arcade game's called Volfeed in most regions. But it has like a cool pattern background and like alien spaceship looking things instead of a weird dancing line. Um, a lot of adult games use this too to like reveal like a naked lady in the background, some sort of pinup or something. Gal's Panic is a really famous one. But there's a bunch of examples of stuff like that. A lot of like, there's probably like a lot of bar top arcade games and things that are designed in a similar way nowadays too. So it's kind of became a classic game design of its own. Man, it's the arcade version sucks though. I gotta say, like, it's so up in your shit you can't even play it. Yeah, it's just so up in your shit. Like, it's just super fucking hard to play because of that. The kicks itself is just awful. The spark thing would be enough to deal with like early on, and like some bouncing ball thing that's not this stupid. Like, this is stupid. You are very much at its mercy all the time. Oh yeah, I love the game concept, and it can be executed so much better. Like, when you don't have the constant threat of death from the kicks, like, it's just too much. There's other types of enemies that can be put in that are just a lot more normal and less frustrating. Oh, so another variation on this is Jezball, which was included with one of the Windows Entertainment packs. And it has a bouncing ball instead of a kicks. And instead of drawing lines like with a cursor like this, God, I just got cornered and fucked around. I mean, what are you supposed to do? It seems like such bullshit. Like, yeah, hover on me a little more, dude. Could you? Could you? Could you be up in my shit a little more? But yeah, Jezebel has you like release this line that spreads both ways across the screen, and then those form lines, and that's how you capture territory instead. Similar concept, but just executed a little different. There's various mobile games that play similar to that too. Oh yeah, that's fun. That's gonna make it easier. Too much contemplation. Almost beat that default high score. Almost. It makes me want to keep going. Could you get up off my ass just a tiny bit, just a smidge even? Nice. Big points. One pixel. One fucking pixel. One pixel. Holy shit. Well, I finally did it. I finally beat the high score. I'm not even saving these. I just wanted to do it. Whew. Kicks. It's hard as heck. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I know what I want to do next. Got all these games with bland sound. Let's do one with completely insane sound. I had this one queued up too. Some of these are in my history, which makes it easy to load them up somewhat more quickly. And while you enjoy this, I'll be right back. So a lot of people think of this as an Atari game. It's really not. I think Atari did publish it in a lot of ways, but it was developed by Stern. It is included in Atari 50 now if you have the DLC. It's like in the expansion pack, but they had to license it from Stern. Stern still exists, I think. I think that they're still the rights holder too, but I'm not sure. They also did a Berserk Recharged, which is, to me, it looks like maybe the worst of the Recharged games, but I don't know. Stern do not make video games anymore. Stern are a pinball company now. They may not be exactly the same company that they were. I don't know, but I believe it's related. They're like the only company that makes pinball machines now, and as a pinball aficionado, that's important to me. But so as you can see in this game, you move slowly from room to room. It's a very slow-paced run and gun, overhead run and gun. One of the very earliest run and guns ever. And you're not actually navigating through a maze. Like, it doesn't go anywhere. The point is to just kill all the enemies. If you kill all of the enemies in the room without leaving the room, you get like bonus points for killing every single one. But if you stick around too long and it doesn't give you very much time at all, the bouncing ball appears that kills you, the happy face. The smiley face appears and it'll kill you. So each room's randomized, and your goal is just to shoot everything and then get out of the room. I don't know what you do in this scenario, or if that's even possible. It's probably not. It looks like it gave it to him for killing everything around it. I don't know. I did play this once when testing it, so I do have a high score up. But yeah, it's really simple, but also like deceptively challenging. Because these fuckers will shoot back at you. You do need to line up your shots and do it quickly so that you don't get killed by the smiley face. Also, if you touch any of the walls, you die, and if they touch any of the walls, they die, and you can trick them into touching the walls. I think I'm going to be able to clear this first room, but gosh, that was... The humanoid must not escape. Destroy the intruder. Get the humanoid. Charge the intruder. Intruder alert, intruder alert. The humanoid must not escape. Ah, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. See what I mean? Intruder alert, intruder alert. That's probably, yeah, this is very high risk. Not worth it. I like the 2600 version of this, but it's, you know, lower resolution, of course, so, and everything's a little bit bigger. But because of that, there's less stuff on the screen, less bots. They can't fire diagonally, and you can't fire diagonally. Or maybe you can fire diagonally, but they can't. Which I guess makes it easier, but still surprisingly frustrating and weird. And strangely addictive too, I think. Oh, but I did, you bastard. And yeah, maybe the first game with voices, at least one of the first popular games with voices in the arcade. We have many more not long after, around the same time, though, I guess, like Star Wars. Star Wars is mind-blowing. Maybe I should play that, I don't know. That's like an Atari game, but not going to be in any Atari collection because of licensing. I guess that gets to be forgotten media, despite being something actually incredible from its time. It's kind of a rail gun, kind of let's say a railed, a somewhat railed vehicle shooter, cursor shooter, you know, that uses vector wireframe graphics. Incredible game. I don't know if I have a ROM of it or a way of playing it here, but I might. And it does use analog controls, so it might be an odd one to play. It actually plays pretty well with a mouse. I've done that before. Ooh, I can't believe I won that little shootout. But not that one. Just barely a new high score. Coins detected in pocket. Nice.
Intruder alert, intruder alert.
Yeah, too many robots, not enough time.
Destroy it. Intruder alert, intruder alert. The humanoid must not escape.
This game's speed very much depends on how much stuff is on the screen. And it changes a lot, so it's a little weird. It's like that on real hardware. A lot of old games are. And sometimes that's exactly how the game's designed to play, and part of its challenge. They probably consider it a good thing in this game's design that the enemies become faster and you become faster when there's less stuff, because it kind of adds challenge when there's fewer enemies left or whatever, you know. They say chicken fight like a robot when you leave enemies unkilled, but a lot of times to survive, it's all you can do.
Humanoid, intruder alert, intruder alert. Kill it.
I'm gonna change screens, this sucks.
Destroy the intruder. Shoot the chicken. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Got the humanoid, got the intruder. Coins detected in pocket. Charge the intruder. Intruder alert, intruder alert.
Fucked.
Shoot the chicken, fight like a robot. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Charge the humanoid. Shoot the humanoid.
Nice, I did it.
Destroy it.
I can shoot more than I'm shooting, it might not hurt.
intruder must not escape. Attacks a humanoid. Shoots a humanoid. The humanoid must not escape. Destroys a humanoid. Destroys a humanoid. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Attackers a humanoid must not escape. Got a humanoid, got a intruder. Shoot it. Got a humanoid, got a intruder. Got a humanoid, got a intruder.
Nice. That's dope.
Coins detected in pocket. Charts a humanoid.
Coins indeed. I got lots of them. All the coins I need.
Destroy it. The humanoid must not escape. Kill the intruder. Intruder alert, intruder alert. The intruder must not escape. Got the humanoid, got the intruder. Attack the humanoid, got the humanoid, got the intruder. Kill it. Intruder alert,
Oh,
got
fun.
the humanoid,
It spawned
got
on
the
me.
intruder.
It spawned where I decided to exit.
Kill the humanoid. Destroy the intruder. Shoot the intruder. The intruder must not escape. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Get the intruder. The intruder must not escape. Charge the humanoid. Got the humanoid, got the intruder.
I really thought it was clear there, but I guess not.
Attack it. Get the intruder.
This isn't gonna be worth it.
Intruder alert, intruder alert. Chicken, fight like a robot.
Part of the strategy of this game is realizing when they've generated something that's basically unfair and then opting out of it. This one's kind of questionable.
Intruder alert.
Let's see. I think I can make this work.
The chicken. The humanoid must not escape. Kill the humanoid. Got That's a humanoid. That's a intruder. Attack it. That's a humanoid. Intruder alert. Intruder alert.
This is a weird game because it's presented as you're like a human trying to escape from these robots or whatever. But you go into it knowing that there is no escape, with no goal in mind other than to kill as many robots in such a way that you get as many points as possible. So like, don't let them get away, but really all you're trying to do is kill them. So, I don't know, it's strange. I'll give it one more go.
Kills intruder. Gets intruder. Intruder alert. Intruder alert. Destroys a humanoid. The intruder must not escape. Kills intruder. Intruder alert. Intruder alert. Got a humanoid. Got a intruder. Kills a humanoid. Destroy it. Intruder alert. Intruder alert. The intruder must not escape. Target. Got a humanoid. Got a intruder. Shoots a intruder. Intruder alert. Intruder alert. The intruder must not escape. Attacks a humanoid. Got a humanoid. Got a intruder. Coins detected in pocket.
What time is it? The font is too small here. Alright, I'll move on to something else. Everybody loved this game, but when I go back and play it, I don't quite fully get why. Maybe it's just a little too simple for me or something. Something doesn't add up on it, but regardless, it is Dig Dug. Yeah, you dig, you dug, you shoot things with your little hose and blow them up. It's really just a game where you go after enemies, and your movement speed is determined by whether or not you've already been somewhere, kind of. And also you can dig and make these rocks fall, which is a little bit of part of the strategy for higher scoring, but it's a pretty risky strategy and not what you mostly do. The last guy always tries to escape. The enemies can go through the dirt by turning into ghosts, and they do every once in a while, more so as the game goes on. See, and then there's this crap. You gotta get them before they escape. And they always try to float up to the top and then escape out the left. And you're a Smurf in this game, and I'm not really sure what's up with that either. Do stuff like that. I'm glad he decided to stop and jerk it around for a while. Make things easier for me. The much better digging game from this era is Mr. Do, and we'll check that out later probably. That game has got a lot more going on than this one. And there's a bit more of a point to the digging in that one, because when you fire your weapon, it's this little ball that bounces around, and it bounces around through the space that you dug. So it's like more tied into the gameplay mechanics. Is that one just gonna leave early? I guess he is. Oh shit. Or not. I should have went up there and taken care of business either way then, I guess. What? I never know what's going to work and what's not in this game, I'll tell you that. What a pain in the ass. These guys suck. Alright. I was going to do pole position, but I guess I don't have a ROM for that, but I would like to do turbo, so that's probably what we'll do next. That's one racing game that people don't talk about enough. It's probably the only Sega game I'll play today. There's a lot of the other ones I'm playing in a lot of other contexts. But, you know, it is a game I remember seeing my dad play. He didn't play a lot of video games, but play a good driving game or something every once in a while. Just got nuked early on. That's crazy. The sequel to this game is really weird. It's kind of a better game. I'm not a huge fan of the original Dig Dug, but I don't hate it either. It's really mindless. You know, this is pretty fun, actually, I guess. It's just in a kind of dumbass way, and just fighting these little monsters underground. But the sequel has you like sectioning off chunks of ground and destroying it. You have to destroy like certain areas to get through the level or whatever. It's a bit like Kicks in a way, just a lot more limited in the way you're allowed to interact with the level. It's a bit like Amador, also. Amador and Kicks are not completely different from each other because they're both territory capturing games. They're just Kicks is like a freestyle one, whereas Amador is on a grid. If you ever played Zoom on the Sega Genesis, that's an Amador clone. So give you a good idea. I guess I could play Amador. Not gonna though, because it's not a game I remember from back in the day. That was controller goofiness. Again, a 4-way stick is really by far the best way to enjoy this game. Bitchin'. Oh, you can continue in this game? Fucking weird. This might be like the oldest continue screen I think I've ever seen. What year is this game? This game's from '82 and it has continues. I do like the sound on this game. The way it plays music only when you walk, and the sound effects are cute and stuff. It's a cut above in that way. Shitty situation I created there. I like how they put a bonus item in the middle that I can't get. The level is over. Ah, shit. I was too busy looking at something else other than what I was actually doing at the time, which is not good. So one game from this era that I totally love is Jungle Hunt, but I have a whole other stream on that, so check that out. I'm not gonna play any of it today, because it'll just turn into a Jungle Hunt stream, because it's like one of my favorite games from this era. But yeah, I'll be back with some Turbo here. I'm gonna do some stuff. I'm gonna wrap some things up. I gotta get a drink and some other stuff. But let me put in my high score here. Alright, I'll be right back anyway. Thanks for watching. Alright, so Turbo, this is a very this is probably one of the first like super scalar games, if you can even say that. But it uses a lot of like rastering effects to scale stuff kind of awkwardly on the side of the screen. As you can see, that it's a vertical screen arcade cabinet. I was shocked to discover it uses entirely digital input. The arcade game had like a wheel and pedals and a shifter, as far as I recall. There's even a deluxe sit-down cabinet of it. I'm pretty sure. Um, you do get a low high gear indicator in the corner here, which I don't think is in the original arcade game. It can be switched at any time, even when you're not playing. Um, does that represents where the stick position is? So the shifting in this game, don't be fooled. There's no speedometer and there's no tachometer, and that's not a tachometer at the top of the screen. That's how many cars you passed. It shows how close you are to finishing a round, which I probably will never do. I've never done and will never do ever. It's really frustrating. Like there, like what did he even hit? Right? I'm not even playing. I'm criticizing the collision, and I'm not even playing. Um, but basically, when your car is fast and goes faster, it moves a little further up in the screen. It'll hit a certain point where it stops moving up, and that's when you know to shift up, and it'll move you up a little further even. And then you'll be going very fast and having to dodge stuff very quickly and very poorly, as you'll see. But yeah, I've tried using the analog stick, and it's not an analog response. It's digital either way. That wheel just had two switches in it, and the pedals were just switches as well, not analog things, thingamajigs. I'm not hearing this game at all, by the way. It doesn't seem to be producing any sound, and I don't know why. It's not muted or anything. Maybe this requires a separate sound pack for sound to work. That makes it a little dull. I'm not going to stick on it for too long, but I did want to give it a couple goes because it's kind of a neat game. It probably uses discrete circuitry for sound. It's not something that can truly be emulated, just played back, really. It's kind of hard to explain that, but yeah, sometimes there's just stuff in the machine that's not like computer software that can be emulated. And that's especially true in these older games. Like, for example, if you're emulating, if you use the Daphne emulator to emulate Dragon Slayer, you're not really emulating a laser disc. You can't emulate a laser disc any more than you can emulate a VCR. It's an analog video device, an old analog video device. So you're just that's like saying watching a video on YouTube is like emulating a VCR. I mean, I guess. But it's just playing back video. So a lot of these games they just play back audio, play back a recording of audio that they have. Maybe they have it electronically stored, but not digitally stored. If that makes any sense. There's various ways to do that. I'm not entirely sure if the technology is any different than what's in like a greeting card that makes sound or whatever. I don't know. I think it kind of similar. So anyway, Turbo, just thought it's neat. It is neat. You can definitely see the origins of how they got into stuff like Hang On and Thunderblade and whatnot. Just looking at this, like they had a certain 3D effect in mind that they perfected over time, starting in 1981. And then think about it, stuff like Space Harrier is like 85, 86. It's not even really that far. And same thing with Outrun. Right after that was like 86, right? They were way ahead of their time. Sega were technology leaders, and I think that Turbo is probably the earliest example of them being technology leaders and like being like really like because in a lot of ways these graphics are more complex than what you see in Pole Position, which came out like a couple years later than this, I want to say. Um, and they're really trying a lot of complex visual 3D effects here that are I don't know. I just feel like they're really punching above their weight on the hardware probably, and it's cool. Like it's just a cool old game, sort of like Atari's iRobot. It's a hell of a thing to see and be like, that's from when? It's from when? Maybe that's why I should check and see if X-Wing is playable. Hang on, let's look into that a little bit. I don't even know. This may also have the same problem, missing a bunch of sound because it has a bunch of voices and stuff. Uh, let's see. I gotta dig through here. Now, does Final Burn even support any? I don't know if it does support any form of vector game. Oh, it seems like it has asteroids. I just don't. Maybe it just doesn't support X-Wing. It doesn't support a lot of Atari games, which is interesting. It doesn't seem to support Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom or Return of the Jedi, which I would love to play. Also, let me find something here though that is. Oh, you know what would be cool? Hang on, let me see if I got this in here. Yeah, this is gonna work. Okay, so we played the Nintendo version of this, but I'd like to do the arcade version of it now. It's not really Nintendo's game. It's Irem's game. Kung Fu Master. gotta get your girlfriend back from Mr. X with your kung fu moves. Punching, kicking, jump kicking, duck punching, and duck kicking. Sylvia, yeah. Devil's Temple. Games are definitely getting a little more complex at this point. This almost looks like a 16-bit game if you're looking at the arcade game. Almost. Certainly a cut above what we have been looking at with, scrolling, backgrounds, music with voice effects on it, stuff like that. Voice effects sound way better on the Nintendo. I think the game plays better as well. It's really frustrating in the arcade. I don't know if it plays a lot better on Nintendo, it's just easier. Oh, alright. Well, maybe not even be able to get past the first level on this bullshit. Knife guy is really putting up quite a fight for me and making my situation bad. Man, these guys are fucking relentless. Yeah, first level's kicking my ass. $1984. Just a little bit further in the future, but I still consider this to be a golden age game. Oof. Really jumped right into that. Oh, that ruined any chances that I have against the final boss. We can safely say that I'm screwed. Hell yeah. Finally. Second level. Good lord, this is hard. It's fun though, it's good. It's a great game. It's a great game either way. I just think that the Nintendo version is even sweeter to play somehow. This ain't bad either. It's certainly cool looking. And certainly challenging. Maximum challenging. From 17th all the way up to 8th. Huge improvement. And this is the first real beat 'em up you'll see in here. Probably the first beat 'em up I can think of. You can also take a look at, the only other one I can really think of from this time period, and that's more of a traditional. This is like a 2D side-scrolling beat 'em up, like Splatterhouse, but a more traditional like belt scrolling. It's not even scrolling though, really, but it's got that 3/4 perspective. Is a what the hell is the name of that game? I have to remember the name of it before we play it. That's killing me now. Um, Renegade. And then I think Konami's Crime Fighters, and then Renegade's sort of follow-up, Double Dragon, as far as being Technos Japan's next game. Those are probably not getting into not Golden Age games necessarily, but later 80s. Ooh, I think Double Dragon's from 86. I'm mostly trying to do like 85 and earlier here. I think that's what most people would consider the Golden Age, is like up until the end of the crash or whatever, when Nintendo brought gaming back into people's lives. Arcades still kind of thrived during the crash, which is why you see all these great games. If they didn't, then yeah, I'd be playing late 70s shit and like 1980 shit for like every game. 80, 81, 82. We've seen a lot of 80, 81, 82. Here's a good look at the later. This is truly a crash era video game. It's excellent. So many traps. Man. Oh, brutal. It's like an infinite supply of children to punch. It's great. They could have just called the game Infinite Supply of Children to Punch and I'd have been sold. Ow. Man, that does 50% damage too. Holy shit. And that does 50% damage as well. Damn. Now I'm all the way up in 3rd place. I could take the default high score on this, I think. This is maybe something that'll have to be its own stream at some point. This is pretty fun. And it's enough more challenging and interesting than the playing the the Nintendo one for the millionth time. Maybe when we do our Black Box Revisited, I'll hit this one as well, even though it's not a Nintendo title. Because I'll probably do that as a series for each game, like I did with the individual Black Box games. I probably won't do it as a variety stream, but I don't know. It's whatever I'm in the mood for. It could be anything. Notice my phone blowing up here with a bunch of shit, so it is Friday. Give me just a minute here, and I'll be right back, and thanks for watching. So this is a game that for whatever reason, it seemed like everyone had this Atari cartridge. I ended up with a whole bunch of copies of it, but barely had any experience with the arcade game. But the arcade game is, of course, very cool. This is I mean, it's a pretty clear knockoff of like Donkey Kong, and it's not, it seems less good in a lot of ways, and it is, of course. But it's still pretty fun and pretty original, and is a good early platformer for like a single screen platform action game like that. Um, the Atari port was good too. It really, kept the gameplay intact, but of course the arcade game's a lot better. I have a much clearer idea of what I'm doing when I'm punching out these monkeys. Oh shit. Pieces of shit. Piece of shit monkey. Alright. What? This seems like some pretty limited technology in this game. Like maybe it can only do like 4 or 5 colors on the screen. I think the resolution was probably a lot higher than what most games had at the time. Although Rampage is only maybe a year or two after this, right? And it's got very high resolution, high color graphics. I didn't play that game either because it kind of sucks. I like the newer ones because they have just enough going on to be like, yeah, this is pretty good for a really stupid game. But like the old one's just a stupid old game now, and it's not even like interesting really to me. And maybe if you bring in another player, it probably is. But by itself, it's just not much of a game. Oh, fuck. I think they did a pretty good job of balancing this game's difficulty to be similar to Donkey Kong's, it feels like to me. Like, just, I mean, maybe at a pro level, it's not really the same at all, but like, for most people, you're gonna be able to get through like a couple levels and then it's hard as shit. It's kind of hard as shit to begin with, but depending on how lucky you get with the enemy placement and stuff, you can kind of maneuver it. And you can duck too. It's just there's not often reason to. The monkeys throw the ball either higher. They throw the apple either high or low. jumping will clear it either way, so it's one of those things. I've noticed if you hit the enemy and there's any ambiguity as to if they hit you, you're both dead. Oh no, that high one can't be cleared. I'm wrong. Maybe there's 3 heights to those, in fact. A low one that has to be jumped, and a high one that has to be ducked, and a mid one that can be either. Shit, kangaroos. Kangaroos related to Tekken now. Maybe this is Roger. He does have the boxing gloves. I'm going to say that's canon. Honestly, if you wanted to do better at this game than I'm doing, the smart thing to do would probably be to unmap up from jump and map it to a separate button. I'd probably play quite a bit better if you did that. I'd probably make button 1 up and button 2 button 1. Yeah, screw you, game. That's insane. Nice. Perfectly executed. Interesting. Never seen this shit. Who knows? Shit. Shit. That's an interesting level. I'm just trying to play the guessing game on where to move. You see how I always guess wrong, though? Every time. Every single time. Yeah, right in the balls. Great. Alright, I got a few more I want to go through here. These next two have a kind of interesting connection to each other. Earlier I said, hang on, let me look and see what I played already. I said Turbo would probably be the only Sega game we played today. I was wrong about that, but we'll get back to that in a minute. First, I said we'd play Mr. Do. Kind of compares very favorably to Dig Dug, in my opinion. It's the better game. So I'm going to do that one. Just a second here. This game has so much more going on than you got to collect all the cherries, so it's kind of a collect 'em up like Pac-Man. You dig to get to stuff. Your shot bounces around in the areas that you dug. You can drop bricks on enemies like in Dig Dug. There's a bunch of secrets, a bunch of secret levels, and all sorts of shit. It's much more interesting and complex. Your shot has a recharge time. I was one away from finishing the damn level. They did give me the A for crushing the A. That's interesting. I think the letters for extra come out as enemies. And you have to collect all of them to get the secret. This was ported to the ColecoVision. The story that connects this game and Zaxxon, which I'm going to talk about also, is that they were both arcade games that were at my local Greek-owned sub-sandwich shop that I would go to all the time as a kid. There's a lot of those in my area. Very, very delicious place to get a great lunch, and they had two arcade machines. They had Mr. Do and Zaxxon right next to each other. What's left here, man? Did I not clear the level? I don't understand what they want from me here. Wild. So, I think right around the time I'd first played my friend's Nintendo, and that was like real early '86. I wanted one real bad, but I didn't get one for a while. And in that following year, I got back into my 2600, and he gave me a bunch of his 2600 games. Which included multiple copies of Kangaroo. And Phoenix. Everybody had a bunch of copies of Phoenix for some reason. We haven't done a traditional shooter at all. I was gonna do maybe Xevious, but maybe I should do one. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna do Zaxxon, and it's not traditional. It's weird as hell. Zaxxon's got like Zaxxon fascinated me, and this game didn't, by the way. But it turns out that this is the better playing game. Um, so yeah, like two of the first games I got on the ColecoVision were Zaxxon and Mr. Do, and they were like, I got these at like garage sales or whatever. I was really thrilled to find both of those games because I'm like, hey, it's the games from the sandwich shop, and they're good ports too. They almost ended up being my favorite stuff on the console, were it not for that excellent port of Donkey Kong Jr. that I also played a shit ton of. I enjoyed the ColecoVision. I also got an Intellivision around the same time, and I did not enjoy it nearly as much. I didn't think it was very cool. But Mr. Do was great. Not a perfect port by any means. It even got ported to the Super Nintendo later, which is something I discovered much later, like as in like a year ago or something. And even that port's not perfect because it has slowdown. This game actually has more stuff going on than the Super Nintendo can handle well without any special chips. That's pretty funny. But it's a pretty advanced game for its time, I will say. It's actually got a lot going on. Like, it really, like, legitimately has a lot going on. How? Insane. Absolute fucking madness. What? The weapon is beyond unreliable. It creates as much frustration as it solves. Like, unreliable doesn't even begin to describe it when it does shit like that. Or it, like, bounces around diagonally in a corner or whatever. There we go. This game probably deserves a much longer stream. There's much weirder stuff you could see in it if I played it longer. Shit. Fuck. Cornered. Again. And it takes a while for me to warm up and be able to play this even halfway decent, I think. The arcade version is probably harder than what I'm used to compared to Coleco and Super Nintendo, which I played a lot of the Super Nintendo one after I discovered it was on there. I'm like, hey, this is awesome. And it came out in like '96. It was so made for like dads who still have their kids Super Nintendo, or People who grew up with a Super Nintendo now. I don't know. It's weird stuff. Gotta love those weird late era releases though. Oh. Well, that I certainly didn't expect. Interesting. Okay. They sure do have a lot of weird ways to kill you in this game. I'm an idiot. I could have made that work fine if I just kept moving. This is a number 2. The first level is a number 1. All of the levels are basically laid out by default, sort of, to spell out what number they are. Just a funny little thing in this game. Oh my god, did I kill every enemy on the level? I guess that's another way to win the level, is to kill every single enemy, which I just did. And then I killed myself. Nice. The way to do it. The enemies don't ghost through walls in this game, so moving strategically is a huge part of it. The ghosting through walls thing actually completely jacks up Dig Dug's gameplay. Dig Dug's not a very well-designed game. I know I pointed that out a few times. It's just kind of a mess. Or I don't get it. One or the other. It could be either of those things, really. What happens in this circumstance? I truly do not understand. Oh, there's still a bunch of stuff to get over here, so it doesn't matter. Oh, shit. Man, this game is righteous. It's probably the best thing I played. Best thing I played today, just about. This should be remembered more fondly. It's really spectacularly good. Well, now I'm just awesome. Except for I missed out on that extra. You know? Damn. It's interesting how this game's a little bit Pac-Man and a little bit Dig Dug and a little bit better than both of them, probably. I don't know, Pac-Man's pretty great. Dig Dug, though, eh. I wanted that ace so bad, and there's no reason. I'm such a dumbass. I should have just taken the end here. Oh yeah, so you can go a little Pac-Man style cutscene with your creepy ass little character here. I did not get the controller to do the things that I wanted it to do. Oh, I'm an idiot. That was very, very dumb. What? What? Alright, I'll move on. That's Mr. Do, a game that I think is rad. And then we'll move on to Zaxxon, a game that I think is interesting. Kind of frustrating, and kind of explains why I'm not super into other isometric games. Like, platformers that are isometric are insanely frustrating. Like, I play Diablo all the time, but it doesn't matter in that game what the view is. Like, I'm talking about, like, Landstalker. That's a game I cannot enjoy. Zaxxon kind of gives you like a gauge on the screen to tell how high up you are or whatever, so it's not quite as crazy frustrating, but you do just kind of also have to learn to like eyeball it or know exactly where on that meter you need to be to not run into shit. Zaxxon. Zax off. Once again with the hit from Sega, old service games. They had more games from this era than I remember, I guess. If I kept playing stuff, I'd probably keep up pulling up more Sega stuff. A lot of which hasn't been re-released or in any satisfactory way. Sega don't really celebrate this era of their past at all. There's lots of eras that they just completely ignore, like System 32 and most of the model stuff until recently. But especially this, like a lot of the earlier games, which they gave a little love to, like in weird ways during the 5th generation. For example, Die Hard Arcade packs in like, what is that game called? Like Radar Scan or whatever the hell. It's a really old Sega game, old shooter. It's not very good. I'm real bad at this though, as you can see. I can't really hear this game either. It seems to have no sound. Hey, isn't this the second? It's probably the same hardware even. 82, 81, yeah. Quite possibly the same hardware as Turbo. No audio at all. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I don't love this game anyway so much. The ColecoVision did get a great port of it though. It's a very good. Oh, and really interesting to compare to the SG-1000 that Sega put on their own hardware. Now, when I say their own hardware, I mean barely. The ColecoVision and the SG-1000 are so related that they're compatible. Like, you can play each other's games, like, with a cartridge adapter, because it's just, like, the only difference is they have a different color palette, so they look real gross if you play them on the wrong system. But, Yeah, so Sega did their own port, and it's pretty shitty. And then like I think maybe Coleco themselves handled the other port or something, and it turned out great. And some things I think are exaggerated. Like people say, "Oh, the ColecoVision version of Donkey Kong was so good." Eh, it's more that the other ones were pretty bad. And I mean, you kind of get what you get. I think the 2600 one's good for what it is, but it's obviously very limited in lots of obvious ways. Oh, and they did a 2600 port of Zaxxon, and since it doesn't have a high enough resolution to really handle like an isometric view, oddly enough, they went with a completely 3D view. It's not even the only like 3D view third person or vehicle combat game on the 2600. There's also Battlezone. There's also X-wing, which I mentioned earlier. Star Wars, or not? It's not called X-wing. It's called Star Wars. You know what? I'm an idiot. I'll try to look for that game again here in just a second. So maybe that is available. I don't know if it plays worth a damn on here or not, but yeah, this is not something I'm good at. I think it's cool. You have limited fuel, which they show at the bottom, and you have to destroy the fuel tankers to stay alive. If you wanted to play like a completely 2D version of something like this, it's kind of similar. You'd play River Raid on the 2600, which is a better game than this in a lot of ways. Um, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this one, but I always was fascinated by the way it looked. It is a fascinating looking game. Entered. They really put the turd in entered there. Uh, yeah, let's check again. Hang on. Let me see if I do have Star Wars on here. I'm an idiot for thinking it was called X-wing. That's the PC game. It's like the Wing Commander style combat sim. Great game, also. Um, Definitely connected, but yeah, okay, okay. I think this control's okay though. Not particularly. Eh, an analog sensitivity issue more than anything else. Otherwise, this would be pretty cool. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can fix that. Let's do 200% speed and see how that works. That's a lot better. Probably 300% speed would be like right on the money. Maybe even 400. We'll see. I know I'm playing a game and not showing it. That's kind of shitty, but I gotta get the controls right or else it's not gonna be worth showing. This isn't something I practiced ahead of time, so I'm winging it here, y'all. Trying to figure it out. 400 is the max value. Maybe that's where it needs to be. Oh yeah, that feels really good at 400. Okay, well, that's the answer then.
Red 5 standing by.
Let's play starting on medium, I guess. I know this looks like bad frame rate, but that's the way it was. The actual vectoring looks much, much cooler on a vector display. Like, it's hard to describe how different it looks than this bullshit.
Red 5, I'm going in.
So you do, it's not completely railed. You do steer to some extent by your aiming, and that becomes a bigger thing on the second level than the first, and then even more so on the third when you do the trench ride. And those are the 3 levels of the game. That's how it's constructed. You gotta run through the towers on the surface, and then the trench ride, and then after you blow up the Death Star, you're back in space to fight more TIE fighters, and it just goes on forever, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Now that did hurt me.
Use the false loop.
I know, and the default settings here are quite easy. They gave me, what, like 6 or 7 shields or something? Maybe even 9? Who knows? I want to say the place I used to play it had it set on about 5. Oops. The dodging is more important than dealing with the turrets.
Yahoo! You're all clear, kid.
Boom. It says may the force be with you on the surface there. This is really cool looking with real vectoring. It's like super bright and you can't tell that it's made up of a bunch of little rings and stuff. It's way different and very cool.
I have you now. Advanced strengthened! R2 trying to increase the power.
I only earned 59,000 points. Maybe I would do better if I played it on easy. I don't know. If I blew up the Death Star a bunch of times or some shit. I doubt it though. Which means that they'd just give me a higher score by playing it on hard. It's a very weird system. It's weird.
Red 5 standing by.
Might as well take the free 800,000 points, right? Or is that only once you blow up the Death Star? That might make it a little bit more of a challenge. They're giving 8 shields here. That's probably the maximum amount. I'm sure it's a physical dip switch. You're a physical dip switch. Yeah, this is absurd. Actual fucking nightmare.
R2 trying to increase the power. Look at the size of that thing.
Yeah, I didn't even make it to the trench. You've got to blow up the Death Star to get the bonus. So that's how that works. So yeah, medium is the best difficulty for me. I have to get a lot better. And this game's from like 81 or 82 or something. It's crazy cool. Maybe it'll say here in a second. It has a copyright for Atari.
Red 5 standing by. I'm hit but not bad. R2, see what you can do with it. I'm on the leader. Red 5, I'm going in.
Analog drift, the game. I'd have to set a bigger dead zone for this, I think. Also, to be clear, because it's confusing a lot of times, there's like 3 Star Wars arcade games, not counting the... I believe that there's an Empire Strikes Back game that's like this, and then there's also the Empire Strikes Back game on Atari 2600, all the console games. Without getting into all that, there's a Return of the Jedi arcade game as well. But the 3 that are kind of remakes, there's 2 that are directly related. There's this one and the Model 1 Sega game, which is basically a remake of this. And then after that, Sega did... God damn. No, I didn't even make it. Blowing up the Death Star that time. That's a bitch. But, the last one is a Star Wars trilogy for Model 3. So yeah, that one like has a bunch of different stuff in it. I'll probably do a stream of those at some point as well. The Sega remake of this, which they call Star Wars Arcade, is on the 32X, quite famously or infamously. A lot of people hate that game. I don't know why. I mean, it's a very simple and hard game, so I guess that's why people aren't into it. But it's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty for its time and stuff. It's not Star Fox or whatever, but it's all right. I guess that's the part that was a bitch at the time. It wasn't Star Fox. It was a game for an expensive, powerful 32-bit add-on that was pretty far falling short of Star Fox, honestly. So that's a real pisser for Sega. But if you look at it independently, especially as a game now, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. You can pretend like you're doing some Star Wars for a little bit.
Red 5, I'm going in.
much better on my first run than on any since then. I'm gonna go ahead and give up on this. I'm gonna do one more game before I wrap this one up. This has been a really fun set of stuff to play from ye olden times.
Will be with you always.
Yeah, what am I gonna do as the last game here? Oh, I know. I mentioned it earlier. Actually, there's two that I mentioned earlier. Maybe I want to do both of them. Gotta search for it. Too many damn games in here. Nah, that's a little too late era as well. It's coming out the same year? That's crazy. Okay, so there's just one more game I want to do, and it's definitely not too late era. It's a true classic. Everybody loves it. When I say everybody loves it, I mean at the time it was just another game, although it seemed to be around everywhere and nobody ever really talked about it. Over time, it seemed to become like a favorite of everyone's, and it never went away. It was always in the arcade. Didn't matter what arcade you went to, it was always there. It became as pervasive as Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man. In fact, they often bundled it with Ms. Pac-Man. There was a popular arcade machine re-release of it in later years where it was bundled with Ms. Pac-Man, so you might know what I'm talking about by now. I am, of course, talking about the legendary, the one and only arcade version of the great, fantastic Galaga. See all this ugly shit? This is what arcade machines look like when you turn them on. And this arcade machine will turn you on. It's Galaga. Everybody loves Galaga, right? One of these is going to pay off. Come on now. My sister and I used to play this game a lot of times. She's better at it than me. Ah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm not perfect that time, but not too bad. Missed 2. Damn. I'm really risking my life there. There we go. I mean, I'm screwed now, but here we go. I barely hit any of that. Barely hit any of that. Seems to be par for the course. Hit like 2 out of 10 of those. Yeah, okay. Absolutely doing terrible. 12 is going to be about... That's my estimate for how many I'll have done total at the end. Or am I being too generous? I'm going to say 12. 16. Oh yeah, nice. Oh damn. I found so many like late 80s arcade games, not even late 80s, but like 86, 87 things that I kind of want to play. That like, we may have to do another one of these so I can hit stuff like Rygar and Bubble Bobble and Renegade and Road Blasters and whatever, you know. And those are just games that start with R. Hell, I don't know. Maybe we'll even play some that don't. Thinking about playing Quake 2 this weekend. We did Quake 1 not too long ago. And we still got Burnout Dominator to do, of course. We'll get to that. Oh shit, I should let him do his business. And I didn't. I was foolish. Oh, you bastards. You worthless dickheads. What? Oh, I already missed one. Well, damn. Two. Missed two. 3,800. This is about how I did last time. I think I'm rolling in with one more life, though, maybe. Probably riskier than it needed to be. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit right there. Ah, fuck you, game. Please be the one. Yeah, he is, because he's coming direct. Live and direct. Screw you, game. This is not going to be the one, huh? He's not going to do it. Shooting him won't change that, will it? I don't think it changes their behavior at all. It's like every other one in the row will do a capture or something. It's just gonna suck shit, as we saw before. Pretty close to hitting nothing. Still a lot better than last time. I always get that free shot in while you're being captured if they're still green, by the way. That's crazy not to. You gotta do that. It's part of the game. And never shoot him while he's docked, or you won't get your ship. You'll be lost. Like I'm demonstrating right now, actually. it becomes an enemy ship, and then that's the deal. Anyway, let's go out on a high score then. This has been a lot of fun. I can definitely see that there's a lot of games that are just a little bit later than this that I really want to get into, so I feel like there's going to have to be a separate stream for that. There's probably a bunch of stuff from this era that I missed too, so I'm sure we'll revisit it at some point. But this is a good representation of what were considered, the arcade games when I was a kid, pre-Nintendo. So anyway, thanks for watching, and if you like action games, there'll be plenty more this weekend, so check it out. Thanks.